Now, when we're factoring our problem, we have both b and c values as negative. So we have a negative 2 as our second term and a negative 8 as our third term. We can still go ahead and complete our problem using the railroad tracks organizer to help figure out what our two factors are. We're going to put our negative 2 on the bottom, and we want to figure out what two numbers add to be negative 2, and we're going to put our negative 8 on top. So we figure out those same two numbers that multiply to be negative 8 will add to be negative 2. Writing down our list of numbers that multiply to negative 8 is really important because you have to make sure that when you multiply each number, that one of those numbers is negative. So with 1 and 8, I want to make sure I have a negative 1. That way my result will be negative 8 when I multiply. However, I also have to think about that negative being on the 8. I can't have both numbers be negative because then I would end up with a positive 8. So these two combinations will work to multiply to negative 8. I can also think of a negative 2 and a 4, as well as a 2 and a negative 4. And those are all my factors that multiply to negative 8. When I add each of these results together, I want to figure out which ones add up to negative 2. So here we can see negative 1 and 8. They add up to a positive 7. 1 and a negative 8 add up to a negative 7. Still, neither one of those combinations add up to a negative 2. As we keep going, a negative 2 and a 4 adds up to a positive 2, so we're getting close. Finally, we have our result of 2 and a negative 4. That adds up to a negative 2. So we can go ahead and put 2 and negative 4 into our railroad crossing sign and use those results to help us figure out how to change our following trinomial into two binomials. Remember, our two binomials are being multiplied times each other and are just another way that we can write our trinomial. We know that we are having a 2 and negative 4 into our binomials. Now keep in mind that 2, it's really a positive 2. So from here, we also want to think about what we're going to put in our initial spot of our binomials. Keep in mind that we want two results that multiply to an x squared. So we want to make sure we have an x and an x. Now, in order to figure out if the following is our answer, or another way that we can write our given trinomial, we can go ahead and use FOIL, or we can use the distributive property to figure out if we could get this answer back to our original trinomial. I'm going to use the distributive property this time, since I used FOIL in the last video, but either of the methods will work to check to see if our answer matches to our original trinomial. Using the distributive property, I want to take my first binomial, which is x and plus 2, and I want to give each piece away to the second binomial. So I'm going to multiply my x times x minus 4. I'm then going to take that 2 in the first binomial and multiply it times that second binomial. So I'm going to have 2 times x minus 4. If we distribute that first x to our x and our minus 4, we end up getting x squared minus 4x. Doing the same thing again with that 2, we're going to distribute it to the x and the minus 4. So we then get plus 2x minus 8. We can go ahead and combine our like terms, the x's, so we end up getting x squared minus 2x minus 8, which if you compare this to our original trinomial given, they're the exact same. So we know that our answer we found of x plus 2 times x minus 4 works.